Hey guys, welcome to the MagFed Ranch Paintball channel, and today I'm going to be doing a versus video. But before we get into it guys, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, share, and comment. Okay, let's get into it. So today's topic guys is I'm going to be doing a First Strike T15 marker versus a Real Steel AR15 rifle guys. And so I'm going to compare both the marker and the Real Steel AR15 from tip to butt, and compare and show to you guys how it could be similar and also how it's different, and of course what the different obviously features or functions within a MagFed marker versus a Real Steel rifle is. Okay guys, because you know, I wanted to do this video for you guys because I just wanted to show viewers out there who aren't familiar with the T15, or of course you guys out there that are in the MagFed community who's played with the T15 but maybe haven't had a chance to compare it with the real AR15, how so similar, so close it clones or it simulates the Real Steel rifle. Okay guys, so I'm gonna bring the camera in close and we'll start from tip to butt and compare all the different components. Okay, all right, let's begin. So guys, real quick, the T15 marker that I'm going to be using for comparison today is our SOP-Mod Block 2 clone, and it's specifically the FSP clone with this front sight post feature. Okay, and on the Real Steel side, I am using my Smith & Wesson M&P 15 rifle that I've built to almost literally mimic a SOP-Mod Block 2 FSP clone, right? Although it's not clone correct. All you cloners out there, I'm not claiming for it to be clone correct, guys, but it has very similar features with the FSP. You know, the Daniel, well, it's actually a Centurion Arms. Well, anyways, I'll get into the different components, guys, but it is kind of, like I said, a SOP-Mod Block 2 FSP clone as well, okay? So starting from the muzzle device, guys, on my Smith & Wesson M&P 15, I have a Spec War 556K from Silencer Co. These are outdated. I don't think these are available anymore. They've moved to a newer model, but I really like this suppressor on here. It has obviously its muzzle device lockup feature, guys. And so here, I'll take this off for you guys to see. And obviously it has their 3-prong flash hider to mount their suppressor on it. Okay guys, and it's got a really cool lockup feature as well too, as you guys can see here. Okay, on the T15 marker, I'm using our MCS or RAP4 Reaper suppressor, but you could use any one of their thread-on suppressors that works with the 22x1 hammerhead barrel, guys. So the SOCOM suppressor would work as well. But as you guys can see here, it mimics really close to the Spec War suppressor. Just like the muzzle device under the Spec War suppressor, you can replace the fake suppressor on our markers, on the T15 marker, to use just a flash hider as well, like this 4-prong flash hider. Okay guys, all right, okay, looks very similar. On the barrels, getting into the barrels now, on the Real Steel rifle, we have a 14.5-inch government profile barrel, guys, that I have pinned and welded that Silencer Co. Flash hider on, so that way it is legal, right? Because we won't get into it, but obviously the legal is 16 inches is the required length for our Real Steel rifles to be legal. And so the barrel is just the government profile barrel. It's not the SOCOM heavy barrel, guys. On our T15 marker, I have the 14-inch one-shot hammerhead barrel that's rifled to be used with first strike rounds. Both rifles are obviously very accurate, guys. The government profile barrels are well known for being fairly accurate. Check out a 9-hole review that they just shot testing the accuracy of that barrel compared with the SOCOM barrel. And guys, the accuracy was very similar. And as you guys have seen already in some of my testing, the hammerhead one-shot barrels are very accurate with our first strike rounds. Now, moving on to the front sight post real quick, guys. We just have our standard front sight post here on the T15 marker. On the real steel, the Smith & Wesson M&P, we have an arms flip down front sight post. I really love this front sight post, guys. When I first saw it, I really wanted to get it because I really like the looks of the AR rifles with this front sight post. It just gives it that iconic, clean look. However, if I want to just move it out of the way and don't have the front sight post, I can literally just fold it down as so, okay? Going on to the hand guards, like I said, telling you guys, this isn't a clone correct hand guard. It's not the Daniel Defense hand guard that would have been available on the Stop Mod Block 2 rifles. But this is a very nice Centurion Arms version. I really like the Centurion Arms, guys. Go check out their company. I think their owner was a former Navy SEAL named Monty McClare. Don't know the gentleman. I just think it's obviously a high quality built parts. Obviously, he's a former Navy SEAL, so that makes it hella cool as well too. The handguard, though, specifically, is super light compared to the Daniel Defense. I really lucked out when I purchased this rifle because it came with the rifle already. And one thing I noticed this when I actually held an actual Daniel Defense rifle, it's a lot lighter than the Daniel Defense handguard version. So far, it's been very durable to me. I don't know if it's going to be as durable as the Daniel Defense version, but I know from what I've read, from what I've researched, the Centurion Arms makes really good products, so guys. So I'm pretty happy with this rifle because of this handguard. I think that's, to me, was kind of the highlight piece of this rifle when I purchased it. I covered it with the Magpul ladder rails, as you can see here, which will work on the Daniel Defense handguard on our T15, which I'll show you guys shortly here, okay? So as I was saying, on our T15 marker, we have the Clone Correct Daniel Defense handguard in kind of this more darker burnt FDE color. This is, you know, it's not actual FDE, like Magpul FDE, as you guys can see here, but it is kind of their Daniel Defense color. And like I was telling you guys, the ladder rails, the Magpul ladder rails will fit. So as you can see here, I can pull off the ladder rails from this rail and attach it to this rail if I wanted to too, guys. So all the components are mil spec. They will fit, you know, correctly with all the different AR accessories that you guys can get out there. Now, let's go to the foregrips. The foregrip that I'm using on our T15 marker is the Clone Correct Tango Down Stubby foregrip for the Block 2 builds. On the M&P 15, I'm using just the Magpul RVG rail vertical grip, okay guys? Like just, you know, mounts to any Picatinny rail. Like I was telling you guys, this rifle isn't 100%, of course, nowhere near it, Clone Correct for Stop Mod, but it has kind of, you know, just similar but not accurate features, okay guys? Now, I mounted a weapons light on my M&P 15. I'm using the Inforce light, okay guys, in FDE. Really great light, super bright, push button right here. It also has monetary or right? Or obviously just constant on and off settings, okay guys? That light, of course, you can mount it onto our markers as well too, guys. I know there are night games out there. I think it would be hella cool for us to play night games with obviously a torch with a white light on there. I'm looking forward to attending an event like that in the future. That would be awesome to play. But yes, you can mount any lights, weapon lights, to this handguard as well too, okay guys? Moving down further, guys, the receivers, as you guys can see here, are very similar, okay? Very similar. The T15 First Strike did a really good job of simulating the receiver of a real AR. You'll notice though that on the real steel rifle that I have, the MP15, this version, I believe it was the earlier generations, they did not include a bolt dust shield cover here, okay? So it's obviously a civilian rifle. It's not, you know, obviously meant for military use. So in like dusty conditions, obviously you would want some type of dust cover, but for, you know, obviously urban use, I haven't had any reliability issues because, like I said, you know, it's mostly used in obviously a civilian setting, okay guys? But on the T15, of course, it does have the dust cover here to simulate the real dust cover of an AR15, but as you guys are aware, it doesn't cover any type of bolt. It's just to cover the hopper adapter in the T15, okay guys? Magazine release is in the same position and very similar in feel and looks, guys. Even the tension of the spring is very close. I will say that the real steel one is a little bit stiffer, but that only makes sense because the magazines are heavier with, you know, with a full load, you know, with 30 rounds of 5.56 in the magazine. It's a lot heavier than what a T15 magazine with First Strike rounds would be, guys. So I think it's probably just a stiffer spring to make sure that the magazine's not going to accidentally drop out, or of course you're not going to accidentally activate it by going to push it. Moving further back, guys, this has a brass case deflector as well too, although like I said, it's just there for looks, guys. It doesn't actually eject any shells, or, you know, no need to deflect the brass. But of course on the M&P, it is necessary for it to obviously eject the shell and deflect the brass there, guys. As always, of course, as you can see, it's an unloaded weapon. Okay, for all you gun safety nuts out there, make sure I show that to you guys. And then of course on our T15, it's unloaded as well too, guys. Moving forward back more, the T15 has the you know, simulation correct forward assist button here. Once again, it's just for show, guys. It doesn't do anything. It's just for your manipulations training, right? So if you go back to charge the marker, push the bolt release if you guys want to, and then of course push on the forward assist just to simulate a reload, so that way all your training is in place. That is there for you. On my MP15, because it was an earlier generation, guys, they didn't feel the need to include the forward assist because, once again, this was a civilian designed and objective rifle. Wasn't meant for military use in dusty conditions or dirty conditions, guys, so they didn't think of a need to include the forward assist. And in the terms, you know, I've shot thousands of rounds through this rifle. I haven't had to use it, but once again, I'm not in a military setting. Okay, guys? Now, speaking of magazines, the Magpul magazines that I'm using, the 30-round magazines, they are the P-Mags from Magpul. I just wanted to show you guys the size comparison and shape comparison versus our T15 magazines. And you'll notice here that the 19-round magazines for the T15 is slightly longer than the actual AR 30-round magazines. However, The 11 round magazines for our T15, of course, is significantly shorter than the 30 round AR magazines. However, like I said, because the 68 caliber first strike rounds are a lot bigger than the 5.56 rounds, they hold a lot more rounds in the actual AR magazines. Okay, guys. Another thing too is that the magazines, the real steel magazines, are going to be not as wide as our T15 magazines. And so you'll notice here that our T15 magazines will not fit into an actual AR mag well, right? Whereas the actual AR magazine slides in no problem. Okay. In terms of positive, just positive, I guess, retention, the T15 does a pretty good job, guys. You guys have to slam them in a little bit more than the real steel AR magazines. But after working them in for a while, once you guys just do a bunch of reloads, like I have here, you notice that the magazines will actually go in pretty smooth and lock down. But brand new, sometimes they will not go in that smooth. You'll have to kind of like slam them home. But after working them in for a while, they will seat no problem. Okay, guys? All right, moving forward, more back. We just have our standard A2 grip here on our T15. It's just what most comes with most just standard AR-15s. On our M&P15, I have our Magpul MOE Plus grip. Okay, guys. But once again, we can change these out if we needed to. I could swap this one to this one and vice versa, guys, so that way you can change the look. Now, let's talk something really cool, which is the trigger, right? I told you guys that the trigger pull on the T15 is very similar to just a standard mil-spec trigger. And so I will simulate that for you guys here. Now, granted, guys, this thing is aired up, so it will have some air firing out, so just be aware of that. But if you guys would notice here that the T15 trigger has a slight take-up. It's almost like a two-stage trigger. Slight take-up. It hits the wall right there. Press back further, and then it fires. Okay, guys? Okay. On the Smith & Wesson M&P15, however, guys, the trigger I have in this rifle is the Geisley two-stage trigger. Okay, so let's go to this trigger real quick. You'll see that it has a very similar two-stage shake-up like our T15 marker. Okay, hits the wall. But on this trigger, because like I said, I have a Geisley in here, I was able to tune it to, I think it's like 4.5 pounds, guys. So the trigger brake is nowhere near the same weight as the T15. So as you guys can see there, it's super light. The reset is clean and positive. Very, very similar to the T15, guys, but just the trigger press is super light on the Geisley. Okay, guys? On the other side, guys, we have obviously our magazine, our safety selector switch. And like I was telling you guys, on the T15, this is something that I wish they could improve on. It's not bad, but it's just not as positive as the real steel or even the M17 marker. They could make it more positive and more, I guess, locked in place, so that way you can't accidentally push it to another position. And I'll show that here to you guys with the real steel one. You'll notice how I actually have to really forcibly push it to select the different positions. And you can hear the switch click into the different positions. Very similar to the M17, guys, but not as good on the T15, okay? Of course, we have our bolt release here, which actually is a functioning bolt release, right? So, so we can release the bolt by pressing it there, as you guys can see. On the T15 marker, it's just for simulation, guys. It doesn't do anything. Of course, you can use it for training, for weapons manipulations, but it's not actually functional. Okay. Then let's go to the iron sights. In the rear, we have a Knight's Armament style 200 to 600 meter iron sight, flip-up iron sight, guys, on our T15 marker. This is actually the clone correct rear sight for the SOP Mod Block 2 kits. Whereas on my M&P, I'm just using a standard Magpul M-Bus flip-up sight, guys. Okay, functions just as well. Pretty much has the windage and elevation adjustments. Not clone correct, but works just as well. Back from that, guys, we are using a, I have here, it is a BCM Gunfighter charging handle. It's not ambidextrous, it just has it for the left side of the rifle. I really like it because it's extended and it allows me to, you know, manipulate the charging handle a lot easier, find it a lot easier. On the T15, it's just their standard charging handle, guys. I think this is something that would be super cool if First Strike or another company could offer a different style charging handle for our markers. You know, if they can simulate like a Radian or a BCM or even like the Gas Buster, PRI Gas Buster charging handle. That would make us, you know, allow us to clone correct our markers even further. And then obviously just have a longer lever here for more positive charging. Okay, as you guys know, on the charging handle for the T15, you do need to charge the bolt back before airing up the system, guys. Otherwise, air will just kind of continually shoot out the front of the marker. Okay, let's get to our sights. You guys have seen on my previous videos, we need some type of mounting system that makes the sight sit higher. We always recommend using the FSR adjustable riser, so that way you get the height over the receiver that is necessary, which is approximately 2.5 to 3 inches, guys. It also allows us to have adjustability, so that way we can get the correct holds for the longer distance shots. On our FSR adjustable riser, on this marker, we're using our Hawk XB fixed magnification, 3x magnification crossbow scope. It has reticle holes out to, this one is 60 yards, so 20 out to 60 yards, guys, for those holds out to those distances. I also have it paired here with our 45-degree mount and a red dot from Valkyrie. It's ADE's Valkyrie red dot. Okay, guys. On the Smith & Wesson M&P, I'm using an ARM, so an arms throw lever mount with a high mount additional, right? So it's very interesting, like I said, guys, that our real steel rifles, we're starting to go to a higher mounting system now, just so that way you get a more heads up cheek weld position. If you guys are familiar with the GBRS group, their Hydra mount allows the red dot to be mounted at a higher position as well too. It just keeps for better body mechanics, your head's more in a correct position instead of having to angle over. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to obviously achieve here. The red dot I'm using is an Aimpoint M2, Comp M2, guys, an older version that I've had for a long time, but it works great still. I've had the battery in there forever, so the battery life on this thing is awesome. It's still working. Now, if you wanted to simulate the kind of the Aimpoint look, obviously the Burris XTS 135 can give you guys that look. Oh, I believe the new Vortex Strike Fire red dot can achieve that look as well. Okay. Going back further, guys, on the T15 marker, Of course, we have a sling mount here, the First Strike sling mount here. I have sling mount features, QD points on the M&P, but we have attachments here, guys. And of course, if you wanted to, you can attach any type of QD mount on the Picatinny rail on the hand guards to mount the sling as well, guys. On the M&P, I'll show you, I have that as well here, guys. So I have the QD mount on our Magpul buttstock, right? But if you wanted to, you can quick disconnect this one here and attach it to the rear there as well. And like I was telling you guys, I have a QD mount on the Picatinny rail on the side of the handguard on the M&P that you can mount it here as well too, guys. So you can adjust it as long as you have the correct mountings hardware, okay? The mount, the sling that I'm using is a Blue Force Gear sling. Really like these slings ever since I started using them. I've used them on my paintball markers in the past, guys, and so I really like these as well. They're the two point, right, with adjustable slings, right? So those are definitely the ones I would recommend using. Moving back further, guys, of course, on a real steel AR, you have your buffer tube. This is where it houses the buffer tube spring. And then, of course, we have our multi-position buttstock. I'm using a Magpul. I believe this is the CTR buttstock, guys. I believe this is a 6-position, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6-position buffer tube. On the T15, we are using the guide rail system, not their sticker system, guys, and I believe this is a 10-position guide rail. But of course, on a paintball marker, guys, we have, of course, our tank, right? Not just a buffer tube. On this particular marker, I'll have a 13 CI tank, but you can use a 10 CI or 17 CI tank. And the buttstock I'm using is just the standard FDE. I believe it's the SCA buttstock from MCS. But yeah, very clone correct looking for the buttstock, because of course they don't have the actual, you know, SOP mod Block 2 buttstock available for our markers, okay, guys? But this is the closest one that resembled the closest one, okay? So yeah, guys, I mean, that's all the different components on the T15 versus the AR15. Obviously, the internal bolts, guys, are different, right? One is an air system that fires First Strike rounds or paintballs, and of course, the other one is obviously a, you know, a bolt carrier group that actually fires real cartridges, okay, guys? But hey, guys, if you guys like this versus video comparing the similarities and how close the T15 looks to a real steel AR, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. I'll check you guys on the next video. Peace.